and welcome to the tutorial for the Helena Ball Gown Skirt. This is a full skirt with a side slit. Comes in sizes extra small through 3XL, and this pattern is available for download at the link in my bio. It is very beginner friendly, but we're going to take it step by step so you guys can make this at home. If you like this full set, it is available to be purchased together with the Helena Corset. Without any further ado, let's get started sewing. So once you've cut out all your fabric pieces, I'm going to take my main fabric front skirt one piece and I'm going to ruche that top edge, and I'm going to pull my lining skirt front one piece, because what we want to do is we want to ruche this so that these are actually equal in length. And we're going to do that for every single piece of our main fabric. So I like to do that by just creating a really long stitch with the loosest tension on my sewing machine, and then I pull until I have the amount of ruching that I want. You can also do this with a ruching foot. It's up to you. Just make sure that when you're done, your ruching equals the same as your lining. So these will equal each other. It's about 75% more on the main fabric than it is the lining. And again, we're doing this to all of our pieces. So I'm just repeating that same process. This is my front skirt 2 piece. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to ruche my 2 back skirt pieces. Now, I have everything ruched. I have my front skirt 1 laid out. This is one of my back skirt pieces, the corresponding side. I'm going to place these right sides facing, and I am going to pin down the sides and then sew down this side of my skirt. Now, I didn't do a great job recording this tutorial because I forgot a crucial step, which is you need to press your seams. So you won't see that filmed here, but once you've gotten this sewn, make sure you press your seams flat. Now I'm going to repeat those exact same steps with my lining pieces. I'm going to take my front skirt 1 and one of my back pieces, lay them right sides facing and pin them together. You'll notice these pieces are mirrored, so these should be cut mirrored. So you'll see my side is on the other side as it was my main fabric. Make sure you press your seams once you have done this. Once that's done, I'm going to lay this out, and with right sides facing, I am taking my main fabric and my lining fabric pieces. I am going to sew these down where the slit is, so where it's the front skirt portion. Don't sew down your backs just yet. We're going to sew these right sides facing, so first I'm going to pin all of these in place and then sew down. So you can see I kind of switched this up so you guys could see a little bit better, but this is the front of my front skirt pieces of my lining and my main fabric that I am pinning into place, and then we will sew this down. This will be your slit opening. Once that's done, in order for the lining to not pop out, I'm going to sew the seam allowance to the lining, and this understitch is just going to help that lining stay in place so it doesn't pop out. Now I'm going to flip everything right sides out and give this a nice press so that I have a nice sharp edge right there at the front of my skirt. Now I'm going to pin, and then I'm just going to base stitch the top of my skirt edge main fabric to my lining, just so that these are held in place. Make sure you align your side seams, but again, I am just doing this with a base stitch just to keep everything in place while we move on to the other side. So go ahead and sew up just that top edge. Once that's done, you should have something that looks like this. You should have one whole front and back panel done. The side slit is sewn down, and then our backs are still open. And we are going to repeat those exact same steps for our next side. So just like we did before, right sides facing, I have my corresponding back piece and my front skirt 1 piece. I'm going to pin those into place, sew it down and press, and then repeat those exact same steps again for my lining front 1 and back skirt piece. And once again, we will sew these right sides facing at the slit opening. Again, we're not doing the back, we're just doing the slit opening, which is going to be on the front. And we're going to pin those into place and sew it down. Then follow that by sewing down the seam allowance to the lining. Again, we're just repeating all of those exact same steps that we've already done. Give it a nice press, and then we're going to base stitch the top just like we did with the first skirt panel that we finished. So now we have 2 skirt panels that are done. We are going to take these and we're going to connect them. There is a notch at your front skirt 1 panel. We are going to place our front skirt 2 panel behind our front skirt 1 panel at the notch, and we are going to just sew those down into place. Go over that same base stitch that you did earlier for your skirt. And now we're just going to work on your waistband. So we're going to take some interfacing and we're going to put this on the wrong side of either your lining or your main fabric, and I'm going to iron this on. I like to use a light to mid-weight interfacing. This is just going to give it a little bit of structure. Once you have that ironed on, we are going to take our lining and our main fabric waistband pieces, place them facing, and we are going to pin just the top. So just the top, and we are going to sew this down into place once we've got it all pinned. Once that's sewn, we're going to give that a nice trim so that when we flip it right side out, everything sits nice and flat. And then once we do that, you can do a top stitch. This is optional. You could also do an understitch, but I prefer a top stitch on the waistband. So I'm going to flip this right sides out, give it a nice press so that it's nice and flat, and then you can do a top stitch on the edge of your waistband. And before I put my iron away, we're going to do one more step with our iron. So I'm going to flip in my main fabric part of my waistband 0.5 inches. You can see I'm doing that here, and this is where we're going to connect that to the front of our skirt so we don't see those seams. And I'm going to go along and press this whole part. Once I'm done ironing, I'm going to grab my skirt again. So I have the inside of my skirt. You can see the lining is facing up. I'm going to take the lining part of my waistband, and these are going to be facing each other, and we are going to pin those into place and then sew that part of our waistband down. Once that's all been pinned down and sewed, we are going to give that part of our waistband a nice trim and cut off our seam allowance. Then I'm going to flip this to the right side up, and I'm going to pull my waistband up and over and fold in that side that we have already pressed. So this should be pretty easy since you've already pressed it, and so you kind of already have your line, but this is so we don't have any raw seams showing on the skirt. So we're going to go ahead and pin all of those. I like to use a lot of pins, so I make sure this is looking nice and neat on the outside of my waistband, and then I'm going to sew that into place. Once our waistband is attached, we are in the home stretch. We are going to add that back zipper. So I'm going to flip everything to the back. I have my two back pieces right here. I'm going to grab my zipper, unzip it, and I'm going to take one side, and I'm going to take where the teeth are. We're going to flip that so the teeth are facing away from the center back, and I'm going to pin this down into place. Once I have one side pinned, I'm going to repeat those exact same steps for the other side. I have my side that I want on my zipper, flipping it so that the teeth are facing away from the center back, and I'm going to pin this into place. And once I have this pinned, I'm going to go over to my sewing machine. Don't forget to change to a zipper foot, and we are going to sew down our zipper. Before you move on to the next step, always zip up your zipper, make sure everything is looking okay. And now we're just going to close up that back seam. I'm going to flip the dress inside out, and we are just going to sew up that back seam, but I'm going to take that end of the zipper tape that I have left out, and we're going to make sure we go right up underneath that and make sure when you're sewing that little hole isn't there. So you sew right up underneath where your zipper stops, and then pinning and sewing all the way down the end and remainder of the skirt. Now the only thing that's left is we're going to do a rolled hem for our lining and our main fabric. Your lining is a little bit shorter, that is on purpose. You can include it in your hem or hem them separately. I normally like to hem them separately, but I'm just going to go to my machine and perform a rolled hem for my main fabric and my lining. And that is our last step. I hope you guys enjoy your new dress and that you found this sew along tutorial helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions and follow along for new pattern releases.